Gary, man, chill, fella. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just saying.
Well,
actually, I wasn't. You're arguing back to me.
5 times.
Pardon?
I said you kind of called me a knobhead about 5 times.
No, it was about the subject we was talking about and the people and the way they're behaving.
Hello and welcome to this week's Pubcast. It's episode 39. 9! Episode 39. Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to say, and I'm sure we all wanted to say, thanks ever so much to everyone who commented last week. They've got those of you who don't normally comment. It was an interesting experiment, and actually it's really like heartening, isn't it, to see that so many people who don't normally comment sort of watch it every week, and some of the comments were excellent. So thank you.
I know.
It's interesting to see how many people watch it on their TV.
Yes.
Well, like you said,
yeah.
So many people said they do that, and that's why they didn't comment. That's fair enough. We'll let them off.
Have we all got our beauty filters on?
No.
Because
have you got yours on?
No. I don't need one, darling.
You don't, mate. You don't. No.
I've got a COVID mask that looks like facial hair.
It's brilliant. It moves as well and everything.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And Dave, you're well up to speed tonight, mate.
Yeah. He's looking very impressive tonight.
Slick. Yeah. Very slick.
So back to the comments.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful comments.
Who did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a few comments about like certain things that we talk about, which was very interesting because it's not just a case of, you know, turning up. You did your homework. You've actually watched till the end. God help you. But some of the things you've said blown me away. I couldn't comment on them all. I've commented on a few, and well, just the depth and the fact that you even think about the shit we think about is just, yeah, respect.
And a lot of people that have said that they've been watching this almost like right from the beginning, some of them, or they've been watching for a long time now and don't stop, keep going. It's quite heartwarming, really, considering it was just a little chat back in the early days. We thought, well, what do? We might get 6 weeks or 8 weeks out of it until the world opens up again. But little did we know, almost a year later, we'd still be here. Yeah. For good or for bad.
Going through our running order and having rehearsals and all that stuff.
I'll tell you what's really scary is since Christmas we've only really talked about photography as well. We haven't. There's been no other talk really at all since Christmas.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
We'll have to change that, won't we?
Well, definitely.
Yeah, far too serious. Can I just apologise to Lynn and Mark and whoever else mentioned that I seemed to be a little bit laying down.
There was loads of comments, Jamie, about that. Actually. Loads of comments. Yeah,
there was. I know.
Yeah.
I deeply apologise for that. And you'll see that I'm sitting up straight and looking at the camera.
Oh, what attention! Nice and erect.
Last week, I did think you was actually at the gynaecologist.
What?
Morpheus in the corner had some stick for that, but he's all right now. We're all. I actually think that you deserved that little rest, Jamie, last week. You deserved that.
Yeah, but do it off the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was quite relaxing. I've got a sofa here, a sofa bed here, and I just put my feet up and just chilled. It was just nice and chill.
Do you know, in Jamie's defence, that is why I moved this chair around, because I noticed not last week but the week before, I suppose because I'm getting so comfortable obviously doing this, I've got an office chair over here, and I started talking to you guys like this, and then I realised I pretty much recorded the whole of the pubcast with me like right down here, and I thought, oh, that looks awful. So I've had a little move about, and I'm a little bit more, as James says,
you're
erect.
teasing us with your hot logs.
I am teasing you with my hot logs.
That looks well cosy.
It is. I love this room. James, come back. What are you doing?
Do you know, this is exactly why Roger Awesome put on his comment, after 37 episodes I still can't work James out.
No. You're not on your own there, mate. None of us can.
Roger's a mystery. He's
actually
actually sat in his underpants. He's not that hard for workout, really. He's got his Y's on.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Is that his name, Roger Awesome?
Roger Awesome? Is that a porn? Is it porno stuff? Roger Awesome and Debbie Dallas does Derby. Thanks, Roger. Anyway, I appreciate that.
Roger does.
I ain't got a clue who I am as well, so don't worry about it.
I don't think anyone has, mate.
I'm an enigma.
I brought it up earlier, but I've got to say how shiny James' glasses are. Honestly,
The window lean on.
they're
Really.
so sharp and shiny.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah.
Just let Yorkshire
Oh,
spit.
look at that.
Yorkshire spit. That's wonderful.
Better than Winderleen.
Short of content. I see again.
Well, we got
Thanks ever
loads.
so much.
I just thought, you know what? I thought I'm just going to sit here and not say
And chill.
anything and see where it goes. I'm just going to, because normally when there's a pause, I kind of fill it with something. But, I thought,
Yeah, but
no,
this is
stay,
why,
I'm just
Gal,
gonna-
this is why you're the puppeteer. You're the puppet master, because when you don't kind of interject, we either go off in a kind of crazy tangent or there's complete silence.
Nobody speaks.
We
I like
need
a
you.
pause. I like a pause. I like an uneasy pause.
Do
a lot of
you?
people say I don't like I like uneasy pause because that's a comic moment.
All right, well, let's do it now then.
See,
No, I'm not comfortable with that. Not comfortable with that. Anyway, what you guys been up to this week? Has anything exciting happened? I can tell you, I've got my new phone, which is thank God, it arrived
Bigger
today.
pockets, Gary. Bigger pockets now.
Well, more
Don't fall
zipped
out.
up, more zipped up pockets. Actually,
Okay.
I went for a walk today. Hello, what's going on with money? I went for a walk today. Nearly got myself knocked over because I refused to run. I'm like, no, I'm not running across the road. I don't care if I get knocked over. My phone's not coming out of my pocket. So yeah. What
did
about
you
the
get
rest of
some
you?
more logs today?
No, just went for a walk today.
Oh,
Yeah. Although I did. Went out with a walk. Went out for a walk with my daughter, and we come round back towards the house, and there's this huge, really big, long log, and I sort of looked at it. I went, "Oh, I'll be back for you in the morning." And she said, why do you need to go in the morning? I said, well, I don't want anyone to see me dragging a log around. It looks a bit pikey, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Sort of
Pikey?
So like, yeah. So
Can't say that.
Can you say that?
well, I just did.
He just has.
Yeah. Sorry
It's
to
a bit,
any
it's a bit travel,
sorry to any travellers who are watching. I do apologise.
Yeah.
Well, I had some good news this week, but I'm a little bit worried to tell you now because we started talking about this. Well, you guys did before we started recording.
aye.
So I'm a bit worried about telling you now. But my good news this week is Helen got her jab today.
Oh,
She got
brilliant.
a
Excellent.
Pfizer jab. So, and I hope she didn't take it away from anyone in the northwest. Mally.
like I was on about earlier.
Exactly.
Us
When you were
northerners.
saying, yeah, and I thought, how do I break this news now that Helen's had her jab today? So
It's about time she got a
that's
good
good.
prick.
Oh god.
Now apparently they're giving it to everybody within a sort of 50-mile radius of London. They've just now said any further out,
Anyone.
forget it. You fend for yourselves now.
Doesn't
You see-
surprise me.
yeah,
To be
Tory
honest with you, you
cunts.
see all these Geordies watching football without any tops on. They should be able to cope with a little bit of COVID, can they? Shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
I'm not going to speak about the people who should be held accountable.
Go on, Manny.
Don't
Go on.
whisper it.
I was saying it in a Chuck Norris kind of voice.
Okay,
It's one of them
brilliant. So
silent
has
moments.
anybody else had anything exciting to tell us about this week?
Dave's got. I mean, I think we should bring Dave in. I think we should bring Dave in here because I think Dave needs a mention for his fitness regime. Considering we're on lockdown, the guy's done incredible.
Yeah. How much, Dave? How much?
£15.
Since when?
£15.
January 1st.
And that was just out of one of his wallets.
Yeah.
Stone over a stone. Very good.
Fantastic, that.
Is that purely on diet, Dave? Is it a combination of diet and exercise?
No, a bit of both. I've upped the exercise quite a lot, but I've only been eating about 750 calories a day.
Oh,
So
Are you
I
are you
left it
permanently
normal.
hungry?
no, not at all. No, it's like just now I've had a prawn salad for tea. Fabulous, no problem at all. I won't be eating again today. So it's fine. I've got willpower. When I set my mind to something, I tend to see it through. So it'll be
Do you have a
fine.
treat though? Have you got a little treat that you give yourself each day?
No,
No?
chocolate cake.
no. I'm on 0 sugar, 0 carbs.
Wow.
I tell you what, it's the carbs that's doing it as well, isn't it? Or
don't you just crave? Yes, I will, Manny. Don't you just crave carbs though? Don't you just like?
Yeah.
Or give me anything, potatoes. No.
No.
Do you have nut supplements, Dave? Do you eat
No.
nuts and
No, not at all.
seeds or anything like that?
so what would you eat in a day then, Dave, to be on 750?
Breakfast: 1 chicken, sausage, and 2 eggs in an omelette. But I've had that breakfast for the last 18 months.
The sausage?
Heck chicken sausage.
Lovely,
but
they
just one.
Yeah.
Lunch is either ham or prawn salad in a bowl, it's a little bowl. And then evening meal is usually chicken leg and salad, or tonight prawns and salad, or salmon and salad.
Right.
And yeah, it's not that much different to what I was on before. Whereas previously I was eating nuts and I would have a tortilla wrap with the salad and that sort of thing, and I was doing less exercise.
And the kebab every now and again.
Every now and then a kebab on the way home from a shoot. Yeah.
Do you think that will change, Dave, once you start to get back out and up with the mountains?
Probably, yeah. I mean, because on that sort of calories, I'd get halfway up the first ridge and I'd be phoning for a helicopter. Yeah. So
but in all fairness, a chicken kebab isn't particularly unhealthy, though, is it?
Very good willpower.
A chicken kebab isn't particularly unhealthy.
No, I actually usually when I was having chicken kebabs, I wasn't eating the pitta. It was just chicken and salad, basically.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of chicken, though. I mean, it would still be 700 or 800 calories, just the one thing.
Right.
How could you throw away the pitta? The grease-filled pitta
Sustenance.
is the best bit of a kebab, surely.
Sauces as well, wasn't it?
No, I literally what I do is I get a kebab, nice big doner kebab, and then I'll squash it like that as much as I can to get as much fat out of the doner meat as I can. And then basically throw away the doner meat and just eat the kebab. Just eat the pitta with all the fat in it.
With all the fat in it?
Yeah. I can't understand why I'm like that.
I've got a confession. I've got a confession to make. I've got a kebab coming and I might have to eat it while we're on.
What kebab have you got coming?
It's a chicken kebab, actually. Chili sauce on a naan bread.
What, you having it delivered or having it made?
It's on its way. It's been delivered.
Oh.
I'm.
You deliver? No, we do lamb and chicken.
Chips and.
I think we spoke about this before on the pubcast when it comes to kebabs, and I think I know I've said that I've not had a doner kebab for about 20 years now.
Same here.
And I think, and I am saving my doner kebab for when I'm on death row. That will be my guilty pleasure.
No, you was a murderer.
Or I'm a celebrity, get me out of it.
Yeah.
That'll be your chosen last meal.
That's a very good point, actually, Maddie. What are you going on death row for?
No, yeah.
What
You must have murdered someone. Which one of us would you kill?
Picture?
That's the topic for tonight. Which one of us is Darren going to kill first?
And why?
I don't stand much chance.
Burnsy, you come back here.
You.
Well done, David. Seriously, mate.
Yeah, well done,
That
Dave.
is some willpower.
Yeah, they slick, Dave.
Something else that happened this week that I really enjoyed was I did a presentation to a camera club last night. That was good fun. Nice bunch of people. If anyone's listening from Sale Photographic Society, thank you for your hospitality.
Society, eh? Society.
Very good.
I'm also available for booking sale.
And me.
So what was your talk on, Dave?
Landscape photography.
Oh,
Okay.
It's
something you know a little bit about.
It's all I know. I couldn't talk about anything else.
Okay. Good stuff.
Good
Stuff. So, moving on. What, Mally? Why are you laughing?
I just unadulterated abuse of the podcast and advertising myself to Sale Camera Club. I love it.
Yeah, but I've got a feeling that Dave did it for free, didn't you, Dave? Because you're that kind of guy.
Yeah, there was no mention of money involved, but you know, I am partial to a kebab.
Oh dear.
And 8 pounds of cider.
Oh, it's going to be a long night.
I'm being quiet. I'm being tame.
Yeah. So moving on. Was it Neil Bonnell who posted a link to? Was it a BBC report?
It was
Yeah.
BBC.
Every cat and his dog posted it, Gary.
Did they? I'll
Yeah.
try and find the link and post it in the description. But I think, was it you, Jamie, who brought it to our attention in the podcast? Did you want to give a brief sort of description of what it was about? And
Yeah, it was it was on the BBC News, and it was about the vandalism really that was created during lockdown at Wistman's Woods, which is down in Dorset. No, further.
Devon.
Whereabouts?
Devon, isn't it?
Devon, down in Devon. Sorry, all those southwest people down in Devon. Obviously it's a well-known woods for photographers
Dartmoor.
because of the Dartmoor. Is it? Okay. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Just to the left of Dartmoor.
20, 56, 60 or 1.
South Dartmoor.
Okay. Put a pin in the map. So yeah, no, it's obviously quite well known because of its sort of ancient trees, moss-covered, gnarly, twisty trees. And Neil particularly has had some really nice shots, but a lot of other photographers have as well. And the point he was making was, I think, during lockdown, people had started to do their daily exercises and go around the place, and are just causing havoc. Campfires, I believe, they were setting there. And the thing that really wound me up, just stripping the moss. Blatantly stripping moss off of these bloody trees. Why do that? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Good kindle for fires, apparently.
Yeah, but come on, it's like ridiculous. Absolutely. And obviously it's not just happening in Wistman's Wood, is it? It's happening in lots of other places around the country where, people are just going out, where I can't go where I normally want to go, so I'm going to go down this wood and just create bloody havoc. It's just crazy.
I think. Right, Manny?
Yeah, my mate just descended.
Struck in his cock.
I think
idiots.
I think there's a little bit of that, but I don't think it's wanton vandalism and destruction. I think what it is actually is just people are ignorant. They're just ignorant.
It's total disregarded landscape.
Yeah, but it's not through. It's not people being malicious or anything like that. I just think that they're just ignorant to how important it is. So it could be kids coming, take your kids off for a walk, and the kids will be pulling stuff out and ripping, and the parents won't stop them. They won't know any better. They won't say you should leave that. That's not a thing to do.
Johnny, get off that moss! That tree's been here long before you were born.
Yeah,
They're not doing that. So
no, they're not doing that, Mally. No, you scared the crap out of me. I thought you were going to go and kill one of your kids, if I was honest there. But I don't necessarily think though it's
kids need.
Malicious damage. I think it's just ignorance, and that's the problem. There's an educational need here, I think.
Yes. It's respect and education. Johnny, get off that tree. Don't do that. Oh no, let him play. He's only playing with the tree. The tree's just a tree. It's not going to be okay. No, sorry. Don't mess with the tree. Leave the tree alone. Step back from the tree and come and walk with your parents, please, and I'll tell you about the badgers and the squirrels.
What vandalism were they doing exactly? When we say vandalism, what exactly was it doing? Does it involve graffiti or is it climbing trees, breaking branches?
I think they were setting camp. They were having campfires, so there was burning and that going on. But whether they were spray painting the trees or not, I didn't see.
So
that
it wasn't going to be young kids then, is it? It's going to be adolescents, 20-year-olds, that kind of age group.
I still think as well though at that age, I still think that there is an educational issue. I don't think that a lot of them. We have a lot of kids around. We got some hills just round in our village, and in the first lockdown, there's nowhere for kids to go. There's nothing for them to do. So all the pubs are shut. All the cinema. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not saying it's an excuse. What I'm saying is all the places are closed. So it's like the adults as well. All like you'd normally go maybe to a cinema, to a restaurant, or to a pub, and instead of that, they'll say, "Let's go for a walk up the hills. Let's go for a walk up Barton Hills." So our hills were absolutely flooded with people from Luton who came in, parked up, and like blocked every exit, every entrance to everyone's driveway, and headed up the hills. and there was rubbish up there, and there were barbecues up there, and there was mess up there, and it became a boggy, muddy mess. But they're not doing it. They're not saying, "Oh, I'll tell you what, let's go into Wistman's Wood and smash the place up. Let's knock a tree down." They're just not giving it any thought at all. There's no consideration. And that's an education issue. That's not like a load of kids going out there with axes on purpose to try and smash the place up. They just don't even think. You set up a campfire, have a barbecue. You're not thinking about the damage you do. You're just thinking, I'm out. Oh, look at me. I'm out in nature. It's great. I'm having a barbecue with my mates and a few beers. I'll leave the barbecue behind. I'll make a load of mess of all the beers and I'll sod off. It's an educational issue.
I'll just say this quick. Ironically, the place in my last video is a place where we used to build fires and used to get wood to make the fires, and all the wood was from dead fallen trees, because trees do shed dead wood, and we did that. And I understand what you're saying about educational thing, but I think this is more of a social disease. This is more of a problem than education. I think there is a violence there. There's a wanton to destroy and just there's no respect for nature.
But we're saying there's no malicious acts about it. Kids are just kids out and just explore.
No, I don't agree.
I think we're partly to blame in a way, though, to allow freedom of movement. You know, and I say it to blame, but we are at advantage in this country in comparison to a lot of other countries around the world where we're free to roam. End of the day, I see
don't agree.
Fires left, right, and centre in all sort of woods.
I think if anything, we're ill prepared. I think you probably look at Wistman's Wood, and it's probably not a very well populated area usually. So you get a few people going out to take photos, you get a few people going out to take walks, but you're not getting the numbers that lockdown has forced out because they've got nowhere else to go. And I'm not talking about kids, I'm talking about adults or everyone. Got nowhere to go, let's have a lovely day out walking up in the hills or walking through the woods. And we're ill prepared. There should be signs, there should be signage everywhere saying this is, but there should. Why? What? Okay, what would you say again, Mally?
Why do we need signs?
To educate people.
People are stupid. People are ignorant and they don't realise the damage they're doing.
Can I just come in here very quickly?
Yeah,
like when I went to Iceland, there's a beach in Vik, and it's got these they call it the deadly sneaker waves. And there is, as soon as you walk onto the beach, there is this huge board explaining exactly what they are, with different pictures, how many people have died. Now, you still get idiots, obviously, kind of like trying to chase the waves and all the rest of it. But without that sign there, I wouldn't have known how dangerous this particular beach is. So I hear what you're saying, Gary. I think it is important, and I think, as shocking as it is, I don't think... I like to think
watch
anyway...
out, there's a branch. It's took a swipe at me.
So I'd like to think that... I don't know what that was. But I'd like to think that people are not doing that maliciously. They just not educated. So I do think a few signs up... It couldn't hurt, could it, to have a few signs up?
The comment I put on Neil Burnell's post about this was that society is sick. There's an illness, because if we need signs to tell people not to climb on 100-year-old trees, to rip them to pieces, or to damage a natural environment.
Do they know?
They should know that. They should know that.
How can
why are they not? Well, I've got a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they're being told that by the school. So if these kids are not going to school and they're not a part of an educational system, then it's down to the parents. If the parents are not a part of a system where they're telling people that nature is important, we need to protect the world we live in, or at least have respect. At the end of the day, we're putting signs up. Do you really think they'd listen to the signs in Jaws? No, they just went out on the surfboards and there was a big killer shark.
That was fiction.
Yeah, that was a film, though.
I'm joking. It was. I'm trying to inject a little bit of a circumstance where a similar thing happened, where it was like, no, open the beaches, it's fine. We live in a world where we're driven by money, and we can do what we like because we are free. We can do what we like. If I want to damage a tree, f*** you. that's the sickness, the illness that society has. We're in a point of where people think that they can fight against systems. Putting signs up is a system. It's more deeper than that for me. It's about a respect for nature, and it's not happening, and I don't think a sign would make any difference. But that's just my opinion anyway. It upsets me.
I think you're wrong though, because I think that in some respects there are going to be people, you stick a sign up and they're going to go screw you, right? They're going to go screw you, I don't care what you say. But there will be a lot of people who go to places like that who've probably never been to an ancient wood before, because they've never had need to, they've never found that we're in lockdown, we've got nowhere else to go.
It's a woodland, Gary. It's not anything like that's hard to understand.
No, but
why is it hard to understand? There's a path.
But what I'm saying to you is if there are people... Well, we walked off the path in the fens, didn't we? In Home Fen. We walked off the path.
I didn't damage anything.
No, but the point is...
I was 15 feet behind you, and we was not even that far off the path.
No, but the point is we didn't know until we were told
but we didn't,
you shouldn't be walking off the paths.
I didn't go and get my axe out. I didn't start damaging things. We walked on some grass.
Talking about axes.
Yeah, but a lot of these people who are in Wistman's Wood and places like that, they're not
Cutting
going out
fires.
there with axes to smash the place up. What they're doing is they're not realising the scientific importance or the importance of the fact it's an ancient woodland. They probably just wander around normally and they don't understand. They've probably never been there before, then they don't understand. You stick a sign up, you're going to get people who go, yes, sod you, but you're going to get a lot of people who go, oh, okay, fair enough. I didn't realise that. I
get it now.
That.
Yeah. I didn't realise how important that moss was. I didn't realise how long it takes for that moss to grow.
I think you're deluded.
And it should be protected. No, not deluded.
I think that's deluded. If you think these people who are doing this are going to read a sign in the first place.
Well, they are.
I think that's
the majority
deluded.
of people are.
I think they
If we're just saying it's all kids, then maybe not. They would disregard and ignore the no parking sign like they do no climbing on ancient trees.
It's happening everywhere. It's not just trees, is it? It's all across the country. It's happening everywhere.
I blame it on Neil Burnell. Bringing attention to the world.
Yeah. Someone said that.
Someone
said that online, and I've never heard anything as more ridiculous in my life.
I think, to be fair, it will hit a nerve with people like us who enjoy the landscape, enjoy going out and appreciating it, and nature people generally. It hits a nerve because we appreciate it for what it is, because we like to enjoy it. But others that just don't appreciate nature and don't appreciate what it is won't care.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not that they don't even respect it. They just don't, perhaps just don't quite understand. That's all. I'd like to think so anyway. And I do think a little bit of education, and people would say, "Oh, I didn't realise." As Gary's,
that and a cattle prod.
Yeah. I think littering is a good point. You know, people surely understand you're not leaving litter out.
That's different altogether.
Yeah, but it's similar to what you're saying with a campfire.
Yes,
you're leaving litter, effectively burn stuff, and you're disregarding the environment, aren't you?
Look at the ocean.
Yes,
yeah, we're doing with that.
Yeah.
No, Jamie's spot on there. I think leaving litter, which we had signs saying "Don't litter," people still litter. I'm not disputing what Jamie's spot on. Jamie's spot on.
Yellow snow.
Yeah,
Same minute.
Do you know what? We're having this conversation, and do you know what? All I feel is sadness about it. I'm sorry. It upsets me because I don't find it hard to understand. That I know that's just me, and I know
different values, Mally.
I know. But isn't it hard to see beyond that? Isn't it hard to see that someone doesn't care for a tree if without trees we can't breathe? Wow.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is a lot of people probably don't see that as not caring for a tree. They probably don't realise the damage that pulling
surely
a bit of
there's
moss
a problem
off a
with the
tree.
education system then. Surely there's a problem deeper rooted here. The problem is that if people can't understand that without trees we can't live, there will be no human beings without trees. That's it. That's the end.
Yeah, but these people aren't chopping the trees down. They're just pulling the moss off the trees.
No, they're doing more than that. They've been ripping them down and making fires. They've been snapping branches. So what I read was, all right, they're getting the moss, but they're also destroying the trees to burn and make fires. So that to me is like ripping a limb off a human. To me, you know what I'm like with trees. I always have been since I was a kid. You pick up what's fallen, you pick up what's dead, and you burn what's dead. Even moss doesn't burn well. It's got to be dry tinder, and it doesn't burn well if it's attached to a tree because it's still got liquid in it. It's living. It's a living thing.
I'll hold my hands up and say that when I was younger, I pulled branches off trees.
Yeah, I did.
What kind of trees, though? What kind of branches?
Don't know.
Ancient ones.
Twigs?
No, branches. When I was a kid, I used to knock about. Used to knock about my mates.
Again,
we used
part
to,
of the problem. Another knobhead. Simple as that. Everyone makes mistakes. This is something different, isn't it? Everyone makes mistakes.
Why is that different? I don't see why that's different because I didn't know any better. And now I know better.
But did you tell your mates to do that? Was there 20 of you doing it?
No, but there was a few of us in the group, and we would pull.
Monkey group.
We'd chase each other with the branches.
Not bad.
But nowadays I know different. Yeah, but there's lots of other things you could say that there's loads of things that you probably did when you were younger.
Of course,
that people would look upon and say you're a knobhead.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just But it's
putting a sign up's not going to stop you being a knobhead, is it?
Well, it might have done, yeah.
Did it do with you?
Well, if someone had educated me to the importance of trees, then yeah.
When did this turn into question time for
I know, we've started off incredibly heavy.
If we're going to have a debate about woods and trees and things and ripping trees down.
Someone send me a text when we get onto photography.
Let's move off this subject. It's getting far too heavy.
How's the project going on? How's the tree project?
Sorry, I think I changed my name to James Burns.
All right. What's next subject then?
Let's talk about pulling legs off of ants.
With a magnifying glass.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's move on then, shall we? Let's move on to talking.
Actually, no. Let's not. I think you've just answered something there, actually. You raised the subject about what people were doing to Wistman's Woods. We got an answer, and we realised that people who do things like that are knobheads.
Yeah.
Done.
I'd still disagree with you. I don't think they're
necessarily... Of course you do.
I do go. I don't necessarily think all of them are.
That's
I think
good.
a lot of people are ignorant.
I know what you mean, though.
I don't think they're doing
it's
it.
Lack of education.
If you're doing it maliciously and you're doing it on purpose and you're doing it to cause damage and destruction, then yes, you are. But if you're doing it because you don't know any better, then no, you're not. You just need to be educated, and that doesn't make you a knobhead. That just makes you ignorant, and there's a difference.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. What?
No,
so okay, really? But you really think that? You honestly think that?
Oh wow!
Time out.
Well, that's half an hour I'm not getting back.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Dad's gone. He's going to put the fire out.
He's cockled.
He's just chucking a bit of moss in there. He's doing it
from what he got from when he was at Wistman's Woods last.
Yeah, how's his moss coming on?
I'm not arguing. I'm just. Can
I just come in here and say these are not from Wistman's Woods?
And we just said that.
So moving on, why don't we talk about our favourite vlogger of 2020? This is something we were going to do before Christmas, but we never quite got round to. Who wants to go first? I reckon we'll let Darren go first. Who's your favourite vlogger?
Well, I'm not saying my favourite vlogger, but a vlogger that really inspired me. Well, there was two last year, and it was all to do with the wildlife. And there's obviously the big vlogger out there, Morton Hilmer. I don't know if anyone's heard of him, but he is pretty much like the Thomas Heaton of the wildlife photography. And he does, I think his channel, even though it is obviously all about wildlife photography, there's a lot of bushcraft involved as well. But the guy that really inspired me last year was a guy from Norway called Trond Westby.
The landed two curlings around 10 meters from me, but I pointed the lens in the wrong direction. I tried to move as slowly as possible, but either they just decided not to be in that area or I scared with my movement a small movement that I do know, but they are in the same side as the plover was earlier. The light is starting to getting really, really low, so I'm starting to losing hope to stay here for any pictures. I managed to get some of the plover, but yeah, I think I just have to realize that this is not gonna be the same day as last time.
Fantastic photographer, and I wouldn't say his bushcraft is perhaps as good as Morton, but it's just his delivery. It's just his very slow delivery, and I like the kind of almost like the broken English as well, you know. And the images that he gets were just fantastic, and I just love watching his videos.
I have to say I haven't.
Was I meant to stop then? I don't know if I was meant to stop and let the video play. I didn't know.
No, you were great. You were great. I've got great bits cut it in. It's fine. I have to say I haven't heard of him though. Have you? Any of you guys?
No, I haven't.
Watched
No,
the
the last one.
You have, Manny. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very
Yeah.
good. From Martin Hilmer. I think he actually came up off one of his videos.
Did he?
Yeah.
So it's similar genre photography wise.
Exactly the same. Yeah. Exactly the same.
A scene in the snow, photographing foxes, although that might be Martin Hilmer.
I don't remember that one from Tron. It might have been, but can I say? And I don't want to kind of, I don't know. I don't want to kind of be negative towards Morton Hilmer, but I do think Tron Westby's photos are fantastic. That's all I'm going to say. I think Morton's videos are probably better, but I think Tron's photos are far superior. I'll leave it there.
Cool.
One to watch.
Yeah. Who's next? Who wants to go next?
I'll go next if you want.
Okay.
So mine is very much somebody that I really respect as a photographer and a vlogger. No, it's not you, James. You're my second, mate. But not my first.
Yeah.
You know?
Where was I then?
You were way down the list, mate. No, this is somebody that I've watched for several years, and he's a cracking photographer. Really, really good photographer. But the thing I like about him is the way that he shares his knowledge with the viewer of the subjects, the places he visits, and it's Simon Booth.
Just got rid of the bag. As I was walking down the footpath just behind the camera there, this group of trees, possibly including that one, caught my eye, but particularly these at the background. These are oaks, and they're growing out of just this rocky outcrop here, and I love the way that they're all leaning over one side. They're very, very dynamic shapes to them. I'll show you a slightly cropped in version of the ultimate shot that I'm looking for, but I just don't think the conditions are right right now. It just needs the atmosphere to create separation from these trees to the background. But what lovely shapes they've got. Just the way that they lean over to that left hand side. Very, very strong composition.
So Simon Booth is a nature photographer, really. Obviously he's a landscape photographer, but he spends a lot of time in nature, whether that's in forests, whether that's in meadows, whether that's in, you know, wherever it is, and he's very good at actually explaining to the viewer exactly what he's photographing, even down to the Latin names of the fauna and the flowers and the weeds that he photographs. And I remember a video he did last year, I think, around bracken, and it was such an interesting video. And you wouldn't think that you could create a whole video around bracken, but you know, he obviously talked about how to photograph it, but he also talked about the differences between ferns and bracken and how to notice the difference. I think actually, Darren, I was talking to you about this when we were at Home Fen several months ago. About
You did with me.
Ferns and bracken.
You did.
And it was just fascinating. And I think that's what I love about Simon, is he just really just grabs you, and when he talks away, you can't help but just get, you know, hooked on what he's telling you because it's so interesting. And obviously the way he describes what he's shooting and how he takes things, and he's very good at, you know, illustrating his, how he's shooting his photography and framing things up. But for me, the thing that I just love about Simon is his love and passion for nature, and that passion really comes across in his videos. And very, very knowledgeable guy, and I've got a lot of respect for him, and love what he does. He's been through some bad times recently. I think he's had some personal tragedy going on, and I hope if you're watching Simon, I hope you sort of get back out there soon and get back into nature and enjoy it for what it is and share it with the world, because you've got a cracking channel, and that's my vlogger of 2020 really.
He's recently released a video first time this year since his loss.
Oh yes, he has.
Yes.
One. Yes. Yeah,
Can I just say, what an absolute, what a guy as well. Really nice, down to earth guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him at the Northern Photography Show. We sat side by side while watching Teddy Abrams and Thomas Heaton. Really nice, gentle guy, really friendly person as well. So yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah, we sat together, James, if you remember, after in the cafe and had a drink with him.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Gent, lovely guy.
Yeah. Before he went off to buy some case filters.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And he's a case ambassador.
He is, isn't he?
Who isn't?
Sam, yeah.
I think the thing I like about him is he's got a fantastic way of explaining his composition and his photography. He's very, very clear, concise, simple. He doesn't complicate everything, and he just explains it really well. I really like watching him for that.
Yeah, agree. Meticulous.
And it's not a big production, his videos, really, either. He's not a great one for loads of B-roll and that type of thing. He's very much just down to the nature and talking about what it is. He calls them films. He doesn't call them vlogs. He calls them films, doesn't he? He creates a film. Yeah. But it is a film of him out there within nature and, as I say, sharing that knowledge. So it's like an educational film. That's what it is, and it's great to watch. So yeah, that's mine.
Well, I was picking the same. Earlier we spoke, didn't we, before we recorded? Yeah. But I think Jamie's pretty much said anything. I had Simon in my mind for quite some time. I've spoke to Simon quite a bit, and like me and James met him at the Northern Photography Show at Penrith, and just a wonderful gentleman to speak to. So my choice, I've actually decided that I'm gonna go away from Simon because we've both picked the same, and I don't think I can say any more than what Jamie said. He's pretty much spot on. I've learned so much from Simon in Fern and Fauna. But before I tell you my choice, the reason why I initially picked Simon is he reminds me of my granddad. Rest in peace. Me and my granddad used to go out perch fishing, and we used to go out through places in Chester, Cheshire, Delamere, and get lost for 12 hours, sun up, sun down in the woods. And you can never get lost, my granddad said. You could never get lost. And Simon reminds me, I'm sorry, Simon, because I don't think there's that much differences in age. He reminds me of my granddad, that time in the world where you would go blackberry picking, you would make nettle pop, you would make poultices to heal wounds, and you'd do that from collecting from the world around you. From nature, from different flowers. I mentioned nettles, but nettles are a great healer. You can use and cultivate nettles to do many things. But my choice, and this is a real switch, and it's something that Jamie said, and it's someone who I've looked up to and admired for a long time. And he's shaking his head, but he's not far off the truth. Because I watched James Burns' first video, and I still watch him today. And
You're not better to do with your life.
But then it dawned on me. What is the star attraction here? What is it that's actually caught my eye? Of course it was the trees. So I tried to isolate them, frame them up. Rather than spending hours on end looking for the right patterns, I focused on the beauty, which of course The lovely patterned, sculptured trees. And of course, with the added benefit of the fog as well.
I'm serious. I've wrote many a poem. I'm not great with English. I'm not articulate. I'm not that educated, to be honest. Although I went to high school and did everything in college and art college. But I used to write a poem every video for James.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yeah.
And I think he might think he might have thought.
Him.
I think he might think I fell out with him because I've stopped writing poems. It's too hard for it, dude.
No, you still hint every now and
try
then.
every now and again. But we're going
back a few years.
We're going back. Yeah, we're going back about 3 years here.
Yeah,
and James was a big inspiration for me to get into the Lake District. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I enter the kebab.
Oh, look at that! Right, well, if you're going to eat your kebab, I'm going to finish off my banana.
So, on that note, my favourite vlogger is James Burns.
Oh, give over. Okay.
James?
Sorry, I'm not going to bring much to the party here because I don't particularly have a favourite one. There's a couple of mine. There's a Norwegian guy by the name of Oddborn Ostervik. Absolutely fantastic storyteller. And the thing about Oddborn is he's not frightened to push the boundaries when it comes to his photography. He doesn't quite fit into a cliche. He always tries to explore things. But his storytelling, his videos, I just think are excellent. And he comes across. So it's Oddborn. But not only that, there's a young chap I've been following, I don't even know his name, Aidan Robbins. You probably won't have heard of him. He's a young filmmaker.
How old is he, James, when you say young?
How young?
Yeah.
Early 20s, I reckon.
Right,
Early
okay.
20s. I'll send you a link to it, but excellent video maker. And again, he tells a story. He's done one recently about a winter wonderland. He just tells a story through his his footage and films. It's really good and very well professionally done. I'd love to colour grade my stuff like his, but
you shared him on the group, didn't you?
I think I did. I think I did.
Yeah, I've seen some of his. Very good. Very
really good. Really top class stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple there for me.
Excellent.
Good, Dave.
Well, did you want me to do a screen share thing? Because I did line something up.
Yeah, go for it.
If no one else has done it, so it might be slightly left field. I'm just going to play this. First, only 60 seconds.
For as long as I can remember, I felt this longing whenever I passed by a grand mountain or a mysterious forest. I felt it whenever I drive by a powerful waterfall or look at a silent stoic glacier. It's like I'm drawn towards it, and even though many hours later I'm in a totally different place, I still think about it. And if I've heard its call, I know that sooner or later I'm gonna end up there. I think it's as simple as curiosity, or the lure of the adventure.
It's odd, Bjorn, but this particular 60-second piece, what he has to say about why he does landscape photography is exactly why I do it. And what I really like about Oddbjorn, apart from the fact he's an extremely good photographer and I enjoy what he does, but I really like his videos because, as James said, he's got this mechanism to do storytelling where with a lot of video makers you get a bit of B-roll and it's where you start skipping forwards or even clocking out. I've never felt like that with Oddbjorn. It's always really important part of the storyline. And so I just sort of get the impression that if we were sat in some Norwegian bar over an outrageously priced pint of freezing cold fizzy stuff, we'd probably have a lot in common. And he shoots the same sort of thing as me, a lot of coastal work, mountains, so that's right up my Strasse. That particular one, the first 60 seconds, literally, of his intro is exactly what I think about landscape photography. He talks about he sees a tree or a waterfall or a feature in the landscape and it eats at him and he knows he's got to go back and capture it, and he knows that there's something there that he's got to photograph, and that's exactly how I feel about my patch around here.
Is that a recent one, Dave?
No, that was May last year.
And what's it called here?
All the Things That Waits to Be Discovered, brackets part 1.
Okay, I'll look for that.
Cool. Good
I'm
stuff.
not saying he's my favourite vlogger, but we were asked about somebody that inspired you in 2020, and so
yeah.
He did a video where he went down to the coast with all these like worn rocks as well. And were you talking about the mountains, all the things to be discovered? He did a similar thing with the coastline, and that blew my mind. What he did, so good.
But I'm subscribed to count them on 2 hands, and he's one of them. I don't watch a lot of videos, to be honest.
Well, I thought about lots of different people, and I thought, I don't know, who can I think of to, describe my 2020 and give me inspiration and blah 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 blah. And actually, really, honestly and truly, there's only one person. And I mean, you guys, I always watch all of you religiously, and a few others, but the one, honestly and truly, that really inspired me in 2020 was you, Darren.
In terms of photography, I wasn't worried about composition. I was more focused on, focus, I suppose. Apart from sunrise and sunset, landscape photography is a fairly slow genre. There's normally time to find a shot, compose, focus and check the histogram before taking that first test shot. Wildlife photography is nothing like that, and so I wanted to practice on whatever came my way and wherever it sat on the perch. Over the last few days I've been googling wildlife camera settings, but there's nothing like putting theory into practice in order to fully understand them. I'm still a long way away from feeling totally confident, but what I can tell you is this genre of photography is really exciting.
It was watching your vlogs on wildlife. It was watching you get out, and I've
Thank you.
I've always really, been interested in or found you like someone who I can really relate to. Ever since I very first started watching you, I thought this guy is someone sort of who's very much like me. I felt you were like me, and I just felt that, I knew that you were going to be one of those guys that if I met, we'd just get on and just have a, whatever.
Well, you said that to me when we were in that pub. You said there's this bloke called Darren Knight. He's the sort of bloke that I'd have a drink with in the pub. Yeah. And now look at us, can't get rid of him.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. But it's just your bird stuff this year. That's all. Last year was just fantastic. And that, without watching you, I don't think I'd have gone out and done the stuff that I've done.
That's very kind. Thank you. That is very kind.
I could have gone, it was so and so, so and so, so and so, so and so. But actually, it was you. So. there's no point really just beating around the bush. But there's not many people I watch really religiously anyway anymore. I used to watch loads of people, but there's you five and a couple of others.
Do you watch Tom as regular? Tom's probably Heaton.
Yeah, I don't watch him as regularly as I don't watch it every video, but I do watch him reasonably regularly. I kind of he out of all of the real big names, I still watch him, and I do. If Paul Johnson puts a video out, then I generally tend to watch that. But I watch a lot of smaller guys, a lot of just. It tends to be the ones who've been doing it for a long time but don't get a lot of credit for it, and I kind of find myself being drawn to them because I want them to succeed and I want them to do well. So I'll kind of feel like I'm watching them and I'm supporting them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
I made a comment on the group the other day that there seems to be a lot of new vloggers still coming along, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
it is good. Yeah,
I popped onto a Facebook group. I can't remember what it's called.
Landscape photographer on YouTube UK.
No, it's another one. It's like YouTube photography channel or something similar along those lines. And there are so many people posting links to videos on there that I've never heard of. Right. So there must be another God knows how many people doing photography in the UK that just haven't even contemplated, And I need to take time to have a look through some of those, and some of those no doubt will disappear quite quickly because that tends to be what happens. People give it a go and then not so good. But out of those, there'll probably be quite a few stick around.
It's a lot harder these days, though, isn't it? Coming around this in the last year or so, starting a new channel to get noticed. Yeah. I think we more or less started at the right time. Even though we were a bit late.
We was a little bit late to the party. Yeah,
we were kind of a second wave, weren't we? Really?
Well, I was probably 2.5. Really?
Yeah.
Because to be fair to what you said there, sorry, how long have I been? 2.5 years. I've been doing it now, but as Gary just said, and what you do well, Gary, is you support the smaller channels, and you supported me, and I called you out a couple of times in my early vlogs when you helped me to get my name noticed and shared my channel on various sites, and you do need that leg up, without a doubt, because as we've just said, it's such a busy market out there for landscape photographers on YouTube. You need to get noticed, and you need a little bit of a nudge every now and again and a bit of a leg up by somebody just to help you along.
Well, yeah, definitely. But I think that the more people who turn up nowadays, the less people who are likely to support, the other guys. It's, I think it's hugely important if you see someone, like if you're an experienced vlogger and you see someone who needs a bit of a hand, just to give them a little bit, it doesn't cost anything, does it? Just to say so-and-so's really good.
Yeah. Just a comment as well. I commented on a video the other day.
You all right, Melly?
I've had
a nosebleed.
I've had a nosebleed.
Yeah. I thought so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I turned my video off and I've abandoned the kebab because I thought it was rude. Put the kebab on the side, but then my nose started pumping with blood. So, apologies, gentlemen. I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. Is your chili too hot?
Do you know what? I thought it was chili. I thought it was chili, and then it was
blood.
It was claret.
Blood donor.
Northerners. Jesus. I'm all right. I get nosebleeds regular, but I've put the kebab down to one side for now.
Okay, so another topic for tonight that we were going to talk about, and this is another one from you, Jamie. Actually, you're rattling through them tonight. You're saying adding people in landscape shots. Do we do it? If not, why not? Does it help us tell a story? So do you want to elaborate on that a bit, mate?
Yeah, well, there was a couple of reasons that came to mind, actually, this week. One of which was, I think if anybody's watched Tom Heaton's latest video, he made a point in that he doesn't like people, and I think we're all probably in the same vein as that when we're out with our cameras and vlogging. We prefer to do it on our own. But he said that he very rarely puts people in his shots. But he took a shot down on his local beach and he included the people, and he said it told a story. It told a story of what was going on, the people enjoying themselves on the beach, dog walking, even swimming. I think there was a few people there swimming in minus whatever degrees. And then also I did something this week. I do a sort of critique it on a Wednesday with a similar sort of camera club, I suppose, to what Dave was talking about. And there was a guy put an entry in this week, and he found three silver birch trees on his exercise walk, and he was asking me about different compositions with these trees, and I was sort of telling him about different lens choices and just move around and just find different ways to shoot the trees. And he put an entry in, and it was, these trees are up on a hill, and he's got three silver birch trees, and he put a shot in where he left a lot of negative space on the left hand side, and he stood there for quite a while because there was a footpath across the top, and he had dog walkers and various people in his scene. And the shot he took was great because you got these three trees and this single dog walker was just there on the left hand side. And I looked at the shot and I thought, well, that just tells a story now of those three trees. They're on a path. There's a connection with people rather than it just being about trees. And it got me thinking that I think that we all probably ignore people because we take a shot of landscapes. I think we've probably all at some point either included a person or even ourselves in an image, but we don't do it that often. But I think it does tell a story. So I just wondered what you guys thought about that, really.
I think it all depends on how much the proportion of the image is full of the person in the first place. I think it's a small person in the distance, and it helps to create. It helps the mind wander a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
As it's closer up, you can recognise the person. It takes that story away. So it all depends on what lens you use, wide angle lens, and scale, of course, for me.
Well,
this particular shot I was talking about. Sorry, just on that shot, he was very, very small. This person on the horizon, really small, and it sort of gave you that sense of solitude. This is really one small guy on his own on the top of a hill,
and a wider expanse around you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, by the time this video comes out, my latest video would already been out because it will come out 8:30 on Saturday morning. So I only took 2 images, and well, you'll have to watch the video because it's kind of me chatting. But on this particular video, I took 2 images, and one of the images is down by the river, and this was taken about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago now. This particular photo, and it was very foggy. And there was a couple of trees on the left and on the right hand side with the river kind of going obviously in between these 2 trees. And on the opposite bank to me, there was a few joggers and there was a few walkers, but then there happened to be a couple of cyclists. And I took the image without the cyclists in, and then I waited for them to get right in the distance, so they was really kind of in the fog, and they was very kind of eerie figures. And I took that photo again with these 2 cyclists in, and that was the image I chose because what James was saying, you can just about make them out. They're not really prominent in the image, these 2 trees and the river. That's like the prominent features, but it's just a nice little feature to have. And I think if this picture was seen on Instagram or something on your phone, you wouldn't be able to appreciate that subtle little quality. But if it was if you viewed it on a 27-inch monitor or on a print, I think it would just add something to the photo that would be quite nice.
It's similar to adding silhouettes of birds in the sky. That again adds scale and a bit of character.
Yeah.
So,
I think
very much so.
I think it's scale. Sometimes putting someone, like for instance, often you get pictures of waterfalls, and I'm not saying put a person in a waterfall, but sometimes you look at a big, you have no idea the scale of that waterfall. It could be absolutely huge, it could be absolutely tiny, and you put a person in there, all of a sudden you've got a reference point and you've got a scale. But for me, I agree totally with what you were saying, James, about they need to be an anonymous person. It needs to be just you can't tell who it is. You have no idea. Yeah, a silhouette. Or you just don't know who that person is. And they can tell a story. So I took one the other week I find in woodland actually is really good for putting people in. And I took one the other week of a misty path and the light going through this sort of tunnel almost of trees. And I took it and I looked at it and I thought it needs something in it. It needs a human element. And I managed to find a guy walking a dog, and it just, you've done the same, haven't you, Jamie? I saw you've done the same. But it's just that really can just add to the shot. And when you could do street, for instance, I look, a lot of my street shots initially were very much like landscape. They were landscape compositions almost. I tried to apply the rules of landscape to street, but you still need that human element, otherwise it doesn't quite work. And I think that there's definitely a place for people in shots. Not all of them though.
No. What about selfies? Is there a place for selfies?
Not when you look like me. It's not.
I did. Again, I took a selfie of myself. Well, in fact, Helen.
Funny that.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I was going to say Helen actually took it for me because I had to. This was in Iceland in the secret canyon, and to get some scale of how big that canyon was, I kind of went down and then kind of came back up, and I framed everything up and turned around and gave it a thumbs up, and she fired off a couple of shots. But I thought I quite liked that as a reference of. I wish I'd have had a different coat on. I had a blue coat, which didn't particularly stand out, but still,
it's got to be red.
I know, but it still gives the image some scale, of how big that is with me in the image. So,
Mads Iverson does that quite a bit, doesn't he? I think is it his girlfriend or wife, whatever. He uses as a
very effective as well.
It's very effective.
I think the trouble with selfies though, and when you take a picture of yourself in the scene. You have to work very hard to make it look natural. It very rarely looks natural because you are posing yourself in the scene. Whereas when you're taking a shot of others, like you're going back to your one you were talking about, Jamie, of the guy who took the people on the hill. I can imagine that was a very natural scene of them just walking or doing something, and it's really hard to replicate that if you're trying to, if that makes sense. Even with street photography, I went to Manchester. That was your idea, actually, man. He told me to go to the northern quarter in Manchester, and there was it was a good thing. And there was a really nice row of buildings, and I waited there for ages, and no one walked down it. No one. And in the end, there were these two Polish guys doing some building work, sort of over on the other street. And I said, listen, mate, will you do me a favour? You don't mind? Just walk down the street. And he walked down the street. I took a shot of him, but it was really obvious that I told him to do that, even though he didn't know what I was aiming for. He didn't know anything, but it was, you could tell in the image that he was there because I wanted him to be there, not because he was there naturally. If that makes sense.
Felt staged.
Yeah, and it looks staged, and it's very hard to get that natural look if you're taking the shot of yourself. But then I guess a lot of people don't want that natural look. They want to say, here I am in the...
Something that resonated with me last week was David mentioned 2 weeks ago actually, and you mentioned it again last week, David, about looking back at artist photographers. And I thought, I need to take heed of this. I need to go back to college a bit and look. And I looked at Edward Hopper, and he's a very famous picture of a painting of a cafe. I think it's like
Nighthawk.
Yes, that's the one. But instead of Nighthawk, I've got low cost or
cost
route corner. But what was really strange is I walked round I've been going out for late night walks because obviously work finishes at 5 and it's dark. So I think I need to go out. So I take my camera with me and go for a walk. And I was mentioning this to Jamie today. And my local shops, it's a row of shops, but there's this one particular shop. It's a Londis. So we're all Londis. It's green. Do they have Londis down south?
Yeah.
So it's a green. Neon, if you like, front door windows, best magazines on, and I thought about this shot quite a bit. I've not took it. I've took some shots, but there's no people in it. And Jamie today mentioned about people, and I'd walked in this shot on a long exposure, and I'm a bit like a ghost. And I quite like the idea of creating this kind of neo. Luminescent signs, quite stark, working class corner shop, and me walking past it somehow. So again, I think the selfie thing, you could act, you could become a part of the scene and be an actor, and that really attracts me. So I'm going to go out for the rest. I've took 6 shots already of local shops on me couple of mile walk, And I'm not. People might look at him and think he's gone now. There's no hope for Mali. He's not coming back from this.
I thought that years ago. What about it?
But Edward Hopper, thanks to David, he made me go, yeah, you know what, I need to think about this a little bit more and go back and look at some art history, if you like. And I've really, really enjoyed it on a night just sat there.
There again, you've chosen a long exposure. Really, your character is unrecognisable.
Yes. Yeah.
Manny, can I suggest someone to look at if you haven't already on Twitter? There's a guy called Joshua K. Jackson.
Crazy. Do you Jamie Windsor?
Yeah.
Do you watch Jamie?
Yeah.
I think did he mention him?
I don't know. I haven't watched him on. But
it's quite spooky because I'm sure he mentioned him, and I'd been looking at this with Edward Hopper, and then he showed me him, and it was like feeling insecure in a photograph. So the flight and I can't even speak, the fear, the flight and fantasy. Yeah. These images that the gentleman you've just mentioned, his name,
Joshua K. Jackson.
He takes pictures of basically kind of like shacks or houses that there's one light on upstairs.
Oh no, this
yes,
is a different
guy. Yeah.
This is a different guy. This guy takes photographs in. He's taken a lot around Soho in London and Chinatown.
No, different guy.
Well, he uses, so he takes shots of neon signs and the sort of thing that you're looking at, and he uses a lot of reds and blues. His main colour palette is reds and blues. But if you check him out, his photography, when I go back out doing street, I want to emulate some of his stuff because it's fantastic. It's all through windows and sort of, so the people
on Twitter, is it?
Right? Yeah, it's on Twitter. Yeah, Joshua K. Jackson. People they're shielded from view by the the condensation on the windows and that sort of stuff. Fantastic, really brilliant work.
Maybe people might like to see what I'm doing then.
It's funny when you just said about the Londis. Now, when you think about it today, and you'll think, oh crikey, I can't take a picture of the Londis. That's so common, or exactly. But you think in 50 years' time. Like at the college at the moment, I mean, we've got some of these amazing buildings, but right in the centre, there's this huge white marquee, which is used obviously for people that can meet outside during COVID. It doesn't go obviously with the landscape at all, but I keep thinking I really should photograph that and document that, even though it won't make a very pleasing landscape photography image. It goes against everything that we're aiming for, but really I should document that because that will be gone soon.
In 2 years' time, they might look at that and go, "What was this? What Darren took?
Exactly.
Why is that there?
Yeah,
exactly.
Somebody walking out of it or going into it with a mask on or something. COVID.
And in 25 years' time, your shot of the Londis.
That's what I mean.
That's what St Helens was like. That's what That's
what
look
it was
at
like
Nevins.
Do you remember Nevins? Did you have Nevins down south?
No.
Nevins was like a big brand, and I always say, we used to go and get Woolworths as well. Yeah, used to go and get ice gems with my grandma from Nevins. And a quarter pounder sliced ham.
Could you imagine now what people in 15, 20 years' time, when you get all the shots of the people with masks on and all, documenting COVID, they're going to look and go, Jesus. Or some people look and go, oh yeah, of course it's like that. But all the ones who are kids now and they grow up, in 25 years' time, they look at those photos and think, wow, it's going to be looking like water. It's going to be like looking at wartime photos.
It is, where they're wearing the gas masks. Yeah. Definitely.
But don't you think photographs of people simply on the high street taken now, they look in 20 years' time, they're going to think, wow, person on the high street.
I don't want it to become the norm. That's for sure. I'm beginning to see it's like kind of norm.
The mask will become the norm.
Normalising, and that terrifies me.
Do you, James?
Yeah, I do.
Oh God, I
hope not.
Because I think of gigs and I think of us going watching like rock bands, heavy rock bands, and going watching band. I couldn't imagine going in a stadium right now with thousands of people, and that it relates to the mask thing, that it almost stops us from being free. The mask, once the mask is gone, we're free again.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have to wear the mask at work all day, unless I'm in the workshop, and then that can come off. But if I'm walking around the college, everyone has to wear a mask. And the other day, I was in one building, and then I came out of that building, and then you walk through the grounds, and then I'm going to take it off and put it under my chin, and I got into one of the other buildings, and I actually forgot to put it back on. Yeah. And I walked for about 100 yards, and there was something, I couldn't work it out, but something in my brain was saying, oh, this, I don't know, you just feel quite free. You know, I just had this really, I can't describe it, but I had this feeling about me that I just felt almost like quite happy, and I couldn't. And then I realised I didn't have my mask on, and as soon as I put the mask back on, I felt like this kind of almost like this claustrophobic kind of feeling again. And I thought that was crazy. I just walked for 100 yards without this mask on, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but why I felt so happy, and it was because of that bloody mask.
The psychology behind psychology.
Psychology. The psyche. I like the psychology though.
Psychology.
The siderology behind it is just terrifying.
Do you know what I think will help? See-through masks. See-through masks. They can at least still see your facial expressions. Sure, there's a market out there.
Yeah,
I've seen loads of that.
I've seen one that's like literally a helmet. A see-through helmet that you can just
a big visor.
Yeah. What? How long? Let's go around the pub. How long do you think that we're going to be wearing masks for? I mean, how long, Dave? How long do you think?
Certainly till a minimum end of this year, and quite possibly well into next year.
James?
Yeah.
At least 5 years.
5 years, you think?
Wow.
Yeah. I think it will become the norm. Yeah.
Jamie?
I do.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go to 5 years, but I'd definitely say within the next couple of years we'll still be wearing them in certain situations.
Mally?
Yeah. What's the gentleman who makes Alien, the films?
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. How long Ridley Scott's been making movies, to me, it feels like that's how long we're going to be with masks. This is like Blade Runner stuff.
Okay. Darren?
2025 is, I think 2030.
I can see it on public transport and airplanes and stuff like that. That it will be the norm. I can't see them taking it out. Maybe in a pub and a restaurant, if you're socially distanced, they might do in the future, but public transport, yeah.
Shit the bed. Can I? Sorry, Darren.
Go on, man. What are you going to say?
No, Darren.
Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, for me, I don't know. I hate to admit it, but I don't think as long as James. But I do think I would go with another 12 months. I would go with Easter around like springtime 2022.
So I'm gonna like be the most optimistic one here, which is like never happens, does it? I actually think we'll be without masks by the autumn. I think once we get everyone vaccinated and things start to die down and the virus starts to disappear a little bit, I think everyone will very quickly just go back to life. They'll just, because they want to, and because you look at it now, it's so hard at the moment to get people in a mask. As soon as there's a chance that we'll be out of it, I think we'll all come out of it. I think, and people do forget very, very quickly. So
I just think it's created that much anxiety now among society. And a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people, it will become the norm.
Oh, that's terrifying.
No matter what.
That's terrifying.
Because there's new variants coming out. They're saying COVID will never go away, despite what vaccines are out.
No, but you look at the flu. The flu was a massive killer when it first appeared, and as usually with viruses, as they go along, they weaken. The mutations weaken them. So I don't know.
I'm glad you've said that, Gary.
Right.
You're spot on what Gary said there. That's science right there. Gary science. Spot on that, man.
But I think
do you know why I said, I didn't mean to interrupt you again for the second time, Darren. is that the idea of the mask lasting is more of a deterrent, a psychological aid, almost like a crutch. I love Salvador Dali, and he paints a lot of images with these crutches, and we have these crutches, and there's a meaning behind it, that we have these walking sticks to help us get through every day, and I feel that mask is a part of that. So I think what Gary's saying, if people realise that the virus will keep going, but it will get weaker, and as a nation, as a world, we will get stronger, as we always do. We will fight this, and the idea of the mask should go away quite quickly.
I kind of look at history, and I look at the Spanish flu, and the Spanish flu killed millions and millions of people. And if you look at, say, for instance, the 1925 Cup final, Wembley, no one was out there wearing a mask. There was 100,000 people all stood together watching the football. And I just think that's the thing to look at. It seems awful now. It seems terrible. Life seems dreadful, and it's the worst it's been during this pandemic. But I just think if you look at history tells you that we do come through these, and we do get stronger, and we do go back to normality. There's never been a virus throughout history that's made us wear masks forever. You know, we always recover.
Yeah.
That's going political for me as well. Do you know what I mean by that? No, I don't really want to talk about it, because it means it's opening a can of worms. There's a reason why we're told to do
You've just
things.
done it. You just done it again.
Done what?
Kind of dangler there.
I'm in
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm in bad books tonight, aren't I?
I've got a story.
You're not in my bad books, Manny.
I love you, Gary.
I love you too, mate.
And do you know? No, shut up. Shut up, James. You're always on my case.
This is the point, though, isn't it? The point is that we do fall out occasionally, but we're all grown up. We're all adults, and we all can talk through it. And
can I just say, I'm not falling out with anyone.
Oh, I fell out with you earlier.
I know you did. I could see on you. I could see on your face. I could see on your face, and I really, really didn't mean to.
Can you make it live, Gary?
I didn't mean to upset you. Not one bit, mate.
Just for Darren's sake.
It's all right. It's all right.
I would never, would I want to purposely upset you?
No, of course.
But I do have to go back to what I'm saying about these masks.
Oh, I think go back to the trees for a second. I thought,
oh no,
please don't call him a knobhead this time.
Oh, we're all. I'm not going there. We all are anyway. Do you not feel that we're being led down a road? Don't get me wrong. I believe in what we're being told, and we do as we're told, and we listen. I'm a great believer in doing discipline and listening to what people tell me, who are far more knowledgeable than I will ever be. But it worries me, things like the mask, and it all comes down to gigs and concerts and being free and having fun with your friends. It worries me deeply that we can't be close to each other. I know some of you amongst us are not big huggers, but I'm a big hugger, and I miss human I miss human contact.
Are you a hugger? Seriously?
I miss seeing you guys, and this is hard. This is hard now.
So with that, I think we're going to call it a day here. Before we go, I just want to give a shout out and say, look, Twitter, this is how you resolve arguments. Right, you have a discussion, don't you, Mally? We have a bit of a falling out.
You can't put that in. People think I genuinely be calling you a knobhead, and I wasn't.
You are.
I wasn't. I called you a knobhead.
Oh,
I can't call two people a knobhead and mean it.
I think
just because when you were 6 you chopped some branches off a tree. You two need get some tougher skin. I'm surprised at you, Burns.
I'm not mourning. Just you.
Anyway,
I was joking.
No.
Yes,
what are you saying?
Listen to this.
What were you saying, Gary?
Anyway, it's nice that we can have these debates and have strong opinions and still be able to talk to each other at the end of the podcast, isn't it? And maybe Twitter could learn a lesson from us.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I concur.
Yeah, and with that, I think we'll say goodbye before we end up beating each other up. And do you know, it's going to be one of those situations where we're actually in a pub. Where we're actually in a pub and I could have got Mally outside now. Outside. Let's sort this out.
Let's face it, Gary. There's not been no beating up here. Love, peace, friendship, trees.
Yeah, that's true.
Hugging. We'd have gone outside for a good hug.
Yes.
I'm glad you said hug at the end of that.
Yeah, me too.
Donna.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
See you there.
See ya. Good day.
Jesus Christ.